nacido en India, profesor de Ciencias de Cultivos de la Universidad de Alabama. Obtuvo una licenciatura y una maestría en Agricultura de la Universidad Agrícola de Andhra Pradesh, India, y un doctorado en Agronomía de la Universidad de Tasmania, en Australia. Su investigación se centra en el desarrollo de prácticas de gestión de cultivos orgánicos sostenibles basadas en cultivos de cobertura para hortalizas y hierbas medicinales en campo abierto y sistemas agroforestales, y evaluando el plasma a baja temperatura para la desinfección de semillas y carne, mejorando la germinación de semillas, el crecimiento de plantas y el rendimiento. Además, imparte cursos de ciencias agrícolas a nivel de pregrado y posgrado. Le damos la más cordial bienvenida al doctor Rao Mentreddy. Welcome.
Thank you very much for a good introduction. I appreciate that very much. And I would like to thank Alok and his team, excellent team that's put up this workshop, for giving me an opportunity to come and speak about my research. Pardon me, I cannot speak in Hispanic. Try my best to speak slowly, Here we speak English, but with Indian accent, so a little bit more difficult for you guys to understand. Try my best to go slow. We'll just go briefly about the seed dormancy. We want to have good seed establishment and plant establishment, for which you need good seed germination. Sometimes dormancy can create issues. And therefore, we have come with a new technology that I'll be talking to you about. This is a good collaborative project. We have several players in this. I'm the lead scientist. We have Sanatanam, he's a graduate student. Trang Pham, she did a MS project, now working as a RA. And Lam Dong, he did a PhD. He's now employed as a postdoc. And then I have Dr. Shu, is an aerospace engineer, and he helps us with this new technology. Okay. Which, this right button? Oh. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry. Got it. Thank you. All right. Dormancy is one of major issues, particularly when you bring some seed from the wild-grown plants. But in the case of medicinal plants, it's very common to bring wild-grown plants. And a lot of times they do not germinate. We had experience with golden seal. It grows in the forest. We tried to plant them in the field. First year, there was no germination at all. And then after 2 years, suddenly we had 80% of the seed that came up. So it is mainly because the seed dormancy was an issue in that case. So dormancy can, it's a lack of germination in seeds or tubers, even though the required conditions like temperature, humidity, oxygen are provided. This is actually a trait that related to evolutionary process of this species. Also has to do with protection of its progeny. So dormancy is an important trait that plants have to protect themselves so that they do not germinate under harsh conditions. There are two types of seed dormancy. One is physical. The seed coat itself is very thick and impermeable to water. For seed germination, first thing is they need water. The moment moisture goes into the seed, it kicks on the enzymatic processes, which will help in different changes in the starches and the proteins and help the plant germinate. Okay. And the other one is physiological. Internal conditions of the seed also prevent the seed from germinating. So seed coat dormancy, the seed coat prevents water from entering, and this is very common in many species. Very common would be the legume family, pulses. And then there are certain ways of overcoming this dormancy, mainly by scarification, where we actually put the seed in a sand bag and then rub it, and it will kind of loosen up the seed and also damage the seed coat a little bit, helps in permeation of water. Then we can use certain chemicals, hot water treatment, dry heat, like putting them on, just treating them with hot air would help. Some seeds require fire. This is particularly forest trees. There are outbursts, bursts of fire in a lot of cases, forest. The seeds, particularly eucalyptus, which produces a lot of volatile compounds, they ignite and the forest burns, and this seed gets treated by fire and they start coming up. It's an essential process for regeneration of those species, eucalyptus particularly. And you can use certain acids, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and those to create conditions germinate. Physiological inhibitors would be mainly inside when there is excessive accumulation of abscisic acid. It dominates and prevents gibberellic acid and those which are hormones that are related to germination to be inhibited. That causes dormancy, physiological dormancy. So I've given some examples there. This can be overcome by using some of the growth promoting chemicals like gibberellic acid and potassium nitrate. Okay. In some cases, they may have both seed coat dormancy as well as internal dormancy. And first, we take care of the physical dormancy by scarification or similar actions, and then we attack the physiological dormancy. So, while these are tested and quite prevalent, we are now looking at a new technology. Okay, this is called plasma, non-thermal plasma technology, low temperature or cold plasma. And this we are finding a lot of uses when it comes to increasing seed germination. Seeds germinate much early. The seedlings grow very fast, the faster rates of growth, and also they're giving higher yields. Okay, so this is a new technology that's out there. Most of this has been there for a while, where they use for biomedical applications, but now they are finding new uses in agriculture. Okay, what is plasma? Plasma is fourth state of matter. That is, we have solids, liquids, gases, three states of matter. This fourth state is plasma. Plasma are like they are weakly ionized gases, particularly noble gases like helium, argon. We can also use elemental gases like oxygen and nitrogen. And this is when you run the electricity through this, the atoms are broken up, and all the electrons, the neutrons, protons, they're all released out, and they're highly charged, and they have a lot of effects on the matter they come in contact with. So there are different types of plasmas. We have plasma jets, corona jets that are generated by subjecting this neon and helium noble gases. And there's a lot of uses now, not only just germination and plant growth, but also for microbial disinfection. Our own research has shown inhibition of or like preventing mycelial growth of certain pathogens on spinach seeds, and also listeria on fish, and salmonella on chicken, raw chicken. So when we subject these to plasma, they are reducing the populations of these pathogens. Okay. So we have two types of plasma here. One is man-made and natural. There are natural plasma out there, lightning, and then in the space weather, astrophysical jets, and also star planet formation. There are different types of plasmas out there in space, in naturally occurring. And man-made, we have all these different in manufacturing industries, then in lighting, tube lights, and so on. And this is the plasma we are using. This has been used mainly for biomedical applications, particularly in, for treating wounds and gum diseases and so on. Of course, space propulsion and those are created plasmas. So if you look at the plasma applications, we can see increased seed germination and yield. We have plasma generally for nitrogen fertilizer. This is still there's a lot of research going on. We tried to infuse nitrogen gas into the water through plasma, but then the water becomes very acidic because it releases a lot of protons and creating 2.53 pH of water. So now we are trying to find ways of overcoming this problem. If you have that, just imagine you attach the plasma machine to the water source and you have plasma activated water that will help in killing the pathogens, particularly soil-borne and seed-borne pathogens, and also providing nitrogen to the plants for the growth. Like that, reduce bacterial levels, residual chemicals, because you're not using much chemicals. This is a green technology, and pests and mycotoxin removals, and then non-thermal pasteurization, sterilization of foods, and food that is good to eat, so there'll be less wastage. And also we are looking at plasma activated liquids, particularly water and steam. So right now, this is a less understood process. We do not exactly know how plasma is modulating all those effects. There's still a lot of research going on. We think that the activated species act like antioxidants, just like antioxidants that are helpful in nutrition of these plants, of the foods that we eat. So similarly, plasma may be doing the same thing. And it may also be forming light hydrogen peroxide, which has disinfecting effects. Okay, so that may be one of the reasons why it is having disinfection properties. And also when it combines with air, nitrogen in the air, then it may be forming nitrates that are actually promoting chlorophyll formation and seedling growth. So right now, this is we are still looking at plasma, but we are mainly focusing on seed germination and rhizome for sprouting and plant growth. And okay. This is a mechanism we use for generating plasma. Here we had this jacket here through which we run the gas, and then in this middle tube here we run the electricity, breaks up the gas, and then what comes out here is the plasma. This is a thin cone-shaped pencil-like, this is just about 1 centimeter wide or less, and maybe about 2 centimeters down. So this is still in very experimental stage, and we are trying our best to scale it up. We have had interest from the farmers. They want to treat large volumes of seed and rhizomes, particularly turmeric is becoming popular in Alabama. We have had several farmers asking us for this technology, so we are working at it. So This plasma produces low energy, and if we increase the energy, what happens? The temperature of this plasma goes up, and when the temperature goes up, it cooks the food. So therefore, we are keeping at low energy, and when we do low energy, the output is low. So this is a paradox here, which we are now working at. How to increase the energy without increasing temperature. Okay, this temperature right now, it's called atmospheric pressure plasma because it is at room temperature. We can put our finger there, it doesn't burn. So we've been able to treat seeds. Now this is a turmeric rhizome, and we are treating turmeric rhizome with plasma. What we did is, we have jets like this. We put about 4 or 5 jets in this. This is using 3D printing. We created this small gadget, and we embedded plasma jets in that. What comes out is like a brush. So you can treat a larger volume of rhizomes. Okay. So we have a big team. This is like a $40 million project funded by NSF. There were 12 universities involved in this research. Most of them are physicists and engineers. They're looking at high temperature plasmas, high vacuum plasmas for industrial purposes. Ours is a small sliver where we are looking at agriculture applications. So my team, I have agronomists myself. Then I have a plant microbiologist, I have a food microbiologist, a food engineer, physicist, also a biochemist. Okay. So our early research has shown that it is promoting early sprouting in mature and immature rhizomes. We grow a lot of turmeric in our research, and sometimes when you harvest these rhizomes early, turmeric needs about 9 to 10 months growing season to mature properly and accumulate curcumin. Curcumin is the active compound that is responsible for anti-cancer, antimicrobial, anti-arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and so on. And if you harvest them early, they don't accumulate enough curcumin, and also the rhizomes fail to sprout. Okay. So also we're looking at some of these microgreen crops to improve their germination and also reduce their disease components. And food safety, we're looking at chicken meat, mainly salmonella infection and listeria, also in salmon. Cold smoked small salmon. I have a MS student who is doing that area. So we are going to just, I'm going to present some results from our turmeric research, and also a little bit of on the mustard leaf seeds. Okay. We have done with several varieties. We started with 4, 5, 6 varieties of turmeric, and we exposed them to helium gas plasma for about 90 seconds. And then once we treated, we planted them in the small seedling trays and grew them in the greenhouse. Okay. So we measured the number of days to sprouting, which variety, which treatment how it affected in early sprouting of the rhizomes. And we also looked at plant height and growth vigor of the plants. Okay. So those are the rhizomes. This is my PhD student treating plasma, turmeric to plasma. This was in the early stages. We made a ring-like structure with 3D printing, and these are plasma jets coming out. And he actually skewered the turmeric, treated it to plasma. And then we planted in the greenhouse. And then if you see here, the red line is no plasma. This is a variety, VN44, VN18, and 12. And this is red line is no plasma, and this green line is with plasma. And these are the number of days to sprouting. So if you can see here, there's a varietal differences. And if you see VN12, the control took more than 48 days to sprout, whereas the treated rhizomes, they sprouted in about 18 days. Okay, so there's a distinct difference between the treated and the untreated, and different varieties, and they have different responses. Okay, but in all the cases, when we treat them with plasma, they sprouted much early. So when we potted those plants in the pots, we found that they treated with little longer and better looking, greener plants compared to the untreated. They all were grown under same conditions, given same nutrients, but the plasma treated were looking much better. So we think the nitrogen, the plasma, when it comes out of the tube, reacts with nitrogen and forms nitrogen compounds, which may be promoting chlorophyll formation and also better leaf growth, plant growth. So this is 100% sprouting also. They treated these blue lines, blue bars are treated, and you can see 100% sprouting they achieved much early compared to the, and there were some varietal differences for achieving 100% sprouting. Okay. So we looked at the plant height in the greenhouse studies, and also this solid line are the treated, and broken lines are untreated, and these are different varieties. And you can see that those that are treated were growing much faster. The plant heights were taller compared to the control. Okay. So then we looked at this problem. My graduate student, he came to my office one day and said, some of the rhizomes are not sprouting. Those are immature, 6 months. They are harvested 6 months early, crop duration. And what you should do, I said, treat them to plasma and plant, we'll see what happens. So he did exactly that. He took these rhizomes. These are 6-month-old. They were harvested after 6 months of planting. These are 7 months old, 8 months, and 9 months. And then this is one variety. So we planted in this immature 6-month-old, the control, which was not treated to plasma, never sprouted. If you see here, this is 0. The control never sprouted. It's just rotted in the pots. And those that were treated to 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and 120, they all sprouted. And earliest was 90 seconds. They sprouted much earlier than 60 seconds or 120 seconds of exposure. Same thing here, 7 months, 8 months, and 9 months, we had the same issues here. Sorry, so 7-month-old here, you see, it took control took much longer, 49 days to sprout, whereas 60, 90, and 120 they sprouted early, particularly 90-second exposure has sprouted much earlier than the other exposure times. So also the plant heights are the same thing, and we believe that 90 seconds is the optimal. So we also planted it. This is in the pots. Again, 6-month-old, control nothing, but this, if you see here, there's a better growth of the 90 seconds compared to the 120 or 90 or 60 seconds. Okay. So this was shown in the greenhouse, and same effects here. If you see in 6-month-old and 7-month-old rhizomes, and then we planted in the field. This is the way we plant in the field. We feed them with organic fertilizers. And again, same thing. If you see here, this is control, 7-month-old, very small plants compared to the 90 seconds and 120 seconds still slow. So again, 90 seconds seems to be. The effect is carrying through from the greenhouse to the field also. We saw the same effects. And we also looked at the yield. Also, the yields were much higher for the 90 seconds compared to this is control here, 60 and 120. Here, again, 60, the control, there was no control, they never sprouted. Again, we see 90 seconds higher. Better yields, good-looking rhizomes. Okay, so even curcumin content, there was some effect on the curcumin content, went up to 8% with 90 seconds, but then it was inconsistent. 1 year we saw an increase in curcumin, the other year when we repeated, we didn't find similar effects. Okay, so this is a NASA funded project looking at improving drought tolerance of mustard greens, and this is my MS students project here. So we treat the seeds to plasma here, and then we plant them in these petri dishes, subject them to artificial drought stress, and then we also plant them in this domes here to let the seedlings grow. Once they are established, we plant them in the pots, and we're looking at their germination. This is different drought stress treatments using polyethylene glycol at 25, 50, 75%. And if you see here, again, there is a difference between argon and helium treated plants. But overall, if you see, control is much low, very less percentage germination compared to the treated. All these colored ones are treated. Compared to yellow, the treated seeds, they germinated at a higher percentage. Again, when we compare argon and helium, there is not so much of a difference, but depending on the time of exposure, the gas effects are also variable. So we are now looking at microgreens because microgreens are very popular health foods, and they grow at very high populations like this, and that creates conditions for disease in those microgreen trays. And once a disease hits, the whole tray has to be thrown out. You can't keep them. So it's a big loss for the farmers. They used a lot of chemicals. They treat these seeds. So we are trying to come with plasma approaches to mitigate this problem. We are increasing seed germination, reducing the seed crop growth cycle, and also reduce pathogen effects and increase their biomass. That is the goal of this project. And also drought tolerance, looking at drought. So just the initial effects, we have seen some effects of plasma, and we feel very encouraged, so we are trying to continue. My student's project is going to do some more research here. Thank you very much. There's no carryover. Yeah, treat them. We actually did that experiment. We planted the progeny of the treated rhizomes, and when we treated, they didn't show any effects. So it is not causing any inheritable traits there. Yeah.
Fabricio, your translate.
Felicitaciones por su investigación. Encuentro que es muy novedosa.
Gracias.
Conocía que el plasma como estado de la materia se utilizaba, tenía muchísimas aplicaciones en el área de la medicina, pero no desconocía totalmente en el área de botánica, particularmente en lo que es mejorar las semillas.
Yeah, I still didn't get it. She's saying the effects of plasma on the physiology.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
En-
Very true. It's actually 100 years old in medicine.
yes.
They were using plasma for treating gum disease, wounds. You're right.
Eh, perdón, ¿entiende usted que las limitaciones que podría tener esta técnica, entiendo que debe ser bastante costosa, sería solamente o limitarse a lo que es research como investigación, o qué viabilidad usted como investigador lo ve en el área del campo, en el área de lo que sería llevar esta técnica a los agricultores?
Just wondered whether this technique is going to be too expensive to take it to the field, or it's just going to be applied in the lab environment. How costly will it be to apply this to the field?
Right now, it is very expensive. The machine costs about $40,000 to $70,000, and so it is still in experimental stage. If you see here, we are treating one rhizome at a time, and we are now trying to develop a scale-up technology. I'm working with two engineers, and they are trying to develop a cheaper source of energy. The energy box costs $20,000. So we are trying to find cheaper sources and also to treat more volume of material. So we are looking at plasma activated water. I did not present the results here, but we have shown when you treat the seed and also the water and add that water to the seedlings, they are growing much faster. But plasma activated water, we can maximum is about 1 liter. So it is not enough. So we are trying to scale up. Correct.
Good morning. I would like to know if you find any problem with the plasma in any of the fields that the science use it.
Yeah, the problem we are finding with plasma is that sometimes it reduces the pH very low. For example, when we treat the water, the pH of the water is going like 2.5, 2.6. So that is a major problem. And number two, if you increase the energy for producing large amount of plasma, then the temperature goes up to 100, 200 degrees, which is burning the material. We tried with carrots, and carrots were burnt when we used higher energy.
In the atmosphere, we have nitrogen in 78%. We have oxygen 21%, and just and 1% we have helium and argon. Do you experiment?
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, what is happening when you break the helium or argon? They're producing a lot of hydrogen, oxygen elements. So these particles, they are reacting with nitrogen. When the plasma comes out of the jet that comes out of the tube, it interacts with the nitrogen in the air, so forming nitrates and such, nitrates. Those are called radical oxygen and nitrogen species, and those are maybe promoting plant growth. That's correct. Yeah. It's not going to affect. We can, because when you treat the seed or the rhizomes, already the plasma effects have started inside the seed and the rhizome. So when you put heat or light on top of it, it is not going to create any issues. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. No, they are not transferring to next generation. Each generation, yeah. Yes. So yeah, my student is going to work with Dr. Alok to see if there is some gene expression for some of the traits. We want to know how this is acting, the mode of action.
It's back. Any other question? Okay, let's thank Dr. Reddy for his wonderful talk.
Thank you very much.